Introduction. In the age of technology, the phone serves as a lifeline connecting us to the world beyond our immediate surroundings. But what happens when that connection takes a chilling turn? Phone calls, mundane as they may seem, can sometimes turn into harrowing encounters that leave us questioning the fabric of reality itself. In this extended exploration of disturbing true phone call stories, we will delve deeper into the unsettling experiences of individuals whose lives were forever changed by the haunting echoes that reverberated through their phones. Chapter 1. The Unwanted Caller. It was a typical evening for Sarah, winding down after a long day's work when her phone rang. Glancing at the caller ID, she saw it was an unknown number. Curiosity got the better of her, and she answered. What followed was a series of gut-wrenching screams, so piercing that Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. She tried to speak, to ask who was on the other end, but the screams drowned out any attempt at communication. Terrified, she hung up, her heart racing. The calls persisted, each time with the same blood-curdling cries. Eventually, Sarah contacted the authorities, but their investigation yielded no results. To this day, she still wonders about the source of those haunting calls. Every night, she lay awake, fearing the moment her phone would ring again, bringing with it the horrifying screams that seemed to pierce through the very fabric of her being. She became paranoid, jumping at the slightest sound, convinced that the unwanted caller was watching her every move, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Chapter 2. The Phantom Caller. For Mark, the phone call came in the dead of night, shattering the silence of his peaceful slumber. When he picked up, there was nothing but static on the line. Assuming it was a wrong number, he was about to hang up when he heard a faint whisper. It was barely audible at first, but as he strained to listen, the voice grew clearer. It was a voice he recognized all too well, his deceased grandmother's. Shocked and bewildered, Mark listened as the voice spoke of things only his grandmother could know. Memories long buried resurfaced, sending shivers down his spine. Yet, when he tried to respond, the line went dead. Mark couldn't shake the feeling of unease that lingered long after the call ended. He delved into research, seeking answers to the inexplicable phenomenon that had invaded his life. His quest led him down a dark path, uncovering ancient rituals and forbidden knowledge that hinted at a world beyond the realm of the living. Mark's nights were consumed by feverish dreams and restless wanderings as he grappled with the implications of his encounter. Was his grandmother truly reaching out to him from the afterlife? Or was there something more sinister at play? Chapter 3. The Caller from Beyond. Julia's experience with disturbing phone calls was unlike any other. It started innocently enough, with random numbers popping up on her caller ID. But when she answered, there was no one on the other end, only an eerie silence that seemed to stretch on indefinitely. As the calls persisted, Julia began to notice a pattern. They always came at precisely 3:33 a.m. Determined to unravel the mystery, she stayed awake one fateful night, waiting for the clock to strike the ominous hour. When the call came, she answered, bracing herself for whatever horror awaited. What she heard next defied all logic. The voice of her deceased father, speaking to her from beyond the grave. Tears welled up in Julia's eyes as she listened to his comforting words, but they quickly turned to terror when she realized the truth. Her father had been dead for 10 years. Yet here he was, reaching out to her from the other side. Julia's world shattered as she grappled with the implications of her father's return. Was it truly him, or was it merely a cruel trick of fate? She scoured through old family records and consulted with experts in the paranormal, desperate for any shred of evidence that could validate her experience. But the answers remained elusive, leaving her trapped in a limbo of uncertainty and fear. Chapter 4. The Echoes of the Past. David's encounter with a disturbing phone call took him back to a dark chapter of his past. It was a cold winter's night when the call came, stirring memories he had long tried to bury. On the other end was a voice he recognized instantly, the voice of his childhood friend who had tragically passed away years ago. As they spoke, David was transported back to a time of innocence and laughter, a time before the shadows crept in. But beneath the surface, he sensed something sinister lurking, something that threatened to consume him whole. It was as if his friend was trapped in a never-ending cycle of torment, reaching out for salvation that would never come. Haunted by the echoes of the past, David struggled to come to terms with the reality of what he had experienced. He revisited old haunts and retraced his steps, desperate for closure. But with each step forward, he felt himself being pulled deeper into a labyrinth of darkness, where the line between reality and illusion blurred beyond recognition. David's sanity teetered on the brink as he grappled with the horrifying truth of his friend's fate, realizing too late that some doors were never meant to be opened. Chapter 5. The Call of the Unknown. Stephanie's brush with a disturbing phone call left her questioning everything she thought she knew about the world. It started innocently enough, with a mysterious number appearing on her caller ID. Against her better judgment, she answered, only to be greeted by a cacophony of voices speaking in unison. They whispered tales of ancient evils and forbidden knowledge, their words dripping with madness. Stephanie tried to hang up, to escape the nightmare unfolding before her, but the voices held her captive, ensnaring her in their web of darkness. It wasn't until the first light of dawn pierced the night that the calls finally ceased, leaving Stephanie shaken to her core. She knew then that she had glimpsed into the abyss, and it had stared back at her with eyes devoid of mercy. Stephanie's once orderly life descended into chaos as she struggled to make sense of the incomprehensible. She sought solace in religion and sought counsel from spiritual leaders, but their words offered little comfort in the face of such overwhelming darkness. The whispers haunted her every waking moment, echoing in the recesses of her mind like a sinister mantra. Stephanie's world became a battleground between light and shadow, where the line between reality and nightmare blurred with each passing day. Climax. As each of these individuals grappled with their own encounters, a common thread emerged. The realization that the boundaries between the living and the dead, the known and the unknown, were far more tenuous than they had ever imagined. Their lives had been irrevocably altered by the haunting echoes of those phone calls, leaving them to wonder what other mysteries lay hidden in the shadows, waiting to be unearthed. The threads of their lives intertwined, drawing them closer to a revelation that would shatter their understanding of the world forever. Denouement. Disturbing phone call stories, while seemingly mundane on the surface, have the power to unravel the fabric of our reality, plunging us into a world of darkness and uncertainty. Whether it's the echo of a loved one long gone or the whisper of something far more sinister, these encounters remind us that the line between the ordinary and the extraordinary is thinner than we dare to imagine. As we navigate the ever-expanding landscape of technology, let us never forget the chilling truths that lie hidden behind the ring of a phone. For in the silence between the rings lies the echoes of our deepest fears and darkest desires, waiting to be heard. In the vast expanse of the digital age, where technology intertwines with the fabric of our existence, the humble phone call remains a timeless conduit of communication. Within its ringing tones lies the potential for news both mundane and chilling, capable of disturbing the tranquility of our everyday lives. Yet, amidst the cacophony of daily interactions, there exist phone calls that transcend the ordinary, a series of encounters that leave an indelible mark upon those who experience them. In this extended exploration of true phone call stories, we embark on a journey into the depths of human experience, where the line between reality and nightmare blurs with each dial tone, each whispered word carrying the weight of the unknown. Chapter 1. The Haunting Echoes. Our odyssey commences with Emily, a young woman seeking solace amidst the serene landscapes of her countryside cottage. It was on one stormy night, as rain cascaded against her window panes with relentless fury, that Emily's sanctuary was abruptly shattered by the shrill ring of her phone. A screen displaying an unfamiliar number, glowing eerily amidst the darkness. Hesitant but driven by an insatiable curiosity, she tentatively answered, only to be greeted by a cacophony of distorted whispers. Voices that seemed to emanate from a realm beyond comprehension. Each word dripped with malevolence, promising an impending doom that sent icy tendrils of fear snaking down Emily's spine, leaving her paralyzed in a state of abject terror. Despite her valiant attempts to rationalize the encounter, the haunting echoes of that call persisted, casting a shadow over her nights to come, enveloping her in a suffocating veil of dread. As the days passed, Emily found herself plagued by sleepless nights and unshakable paranoia, the memory of that fateful call a festering wound upon her psyche. No matter how hard she tried to convince herself it was a prank or a figment of her imagination, the whispers lingered, taunting her with their insidious presence. Every ring of her phone sent her heart racing, a trembling hand hesitating over the receiver, torn between the urge to answer and the instinct to flee from the unseen terror that lurked on the other end of the line. She began to research the history of her cottage, uncovering tales of tragedy and loss that mirrored the voices that plagued her, leading her to wonder if the spirits of the past were reaching out from the beyond, seeking solace or retribution in the realm of the living. Chapter 2. The Phantom Caller. Next, we are introduced to Mark, a man of routine whose meticulously ordered life was abruptly disrupted by a relentless barrage of late-night phone calls. Each time he picked up the receiver, there was naught but an oppressive silence, save for the faint rasp of breath on the other end, a chilling reminder of the unseen presence lurking in the shadows. Initially dismissing it as a juvenile prank, Mark's unease grew exponentially with each unanswered call, his once peaceful existence now besieged by an overwhelming sense of dread that refused to be assuaged. Desperate for respite, he sought solace in the comforting embrace of the authorities, only to uncover a chilling truth. The calls originated from a disconnected line, plunging Mark into a maelstrom of paranoia and fear from which there seemed no escape. Every unanswered call became a torment, a haunting reminder of the spectral presence that haunted his every waking moment, a relentless spectre that refused to be silenced. He delved into the depths of conspiracy theories and urban legends, seeking answers to the enigma that had consumed his life, only to find himself ensnared in a web of deceit and intrigue that threatened to unravel his sanity. Chapter 3. The Voice from Beyond. Our journey takes a darker turn with Sarah, a grieving widow still reeling from the tragic loss of her beloved husband. Weeks after his untimely passing, Sarah found herself confronted with the unthinkable. A call from her husband's phone, a call that defied all logic and reason. Trembling with disbelief, she answered, only to be greeted by a voice that mirrored her husband's with unsettling accuracy, uttering cryptic messages that hinted at secrets buried with him in the cold embrace of death. Struggling to comprehend the inexplicable, Sarah grappled with the chilling realization that something beyond the realm of the living was reaching out from the shadows, beckoning her to confront truths better left buried. Each subsequent call became a torturous reminder of the void left by her husband's absence, a spectral echo of a love lost to the unforgiving passage of time, a whispered promise of reunion in the cold embrace of eternity. She embarked on a journey of spiritual awakening, seeking guidance from mediums and mystics in a desperate bid to communicate with her departed husband, only to be met with silence or cryptic messages that left her more confused and distraught than ever before. Chapter 4. The Stranger's Warning. In this chapter, we are introduced to Jack, a weary traveler stranded on a desolate highway in the dead of night. With his phone devoid of signal and his spirit teetering on the precipice of despair, Jack's desperation reached a fever pitch until an unexpected call pierced the oppressive silence, its ring cutting through the darkness like a beacon of hope in the night. On the other end was a gravelly voice, warning him of unseen perils lurking in the darkness ahead. A dire premonition that sent shivers racing down Jack's spine, awakening within him a primal instinct for self-preservation. Reluctantly heeding the stranger's advice, Jack narrowly escaped a fate that awaited him on that forsaken road, forever haunted by the chilling premonition delivered through the cursed connection. Each passing mile became a testament to the fragility of life, a reminder of the unseen dangers that lurked beneath the surface of the world we thought we knew, a whispered warning of the horrors that lay hidden in the shadows of the night. Jack became obsessed with uncovering the identity of the mysterious caller, embarking on a quest that led him down dark alleys and into the seedy underbelly of society, where he encountered danger at every turn and faced adversaries hell-bent on silencing him and his pursuit of the truth. Chapter 5. The Cursed Connection. Our final tale brings us to Rachel, a curious soul drawn to an antique rotary phone at a flea market. Ignorant of its dark past and oblivious to the malevolent force that lay dormant within its ancient circuits, Rachel brought the relic home, unwittingly inviting a spectre of darkness into her life. Soon after plugging it in, she found herself besieged by calls from the past. Ghostly voices recounting tragedies that befell its previous owners, each call a chilling reminder of the phone's cursed legacy, a whispered lament of lives lost and souls consumed by the abyss. As Rachel delved deeper into its dark history, she realized too late that some connections are better left severed, lest they drag unsuspecting souls into the depths of despair. With each whispered tale of tragedy and loss, Rachel's world grew increasingly surreal, a labyrinth of secrets and shadows from which there seemed no escape, a haunting reminder that some doors should never be opened, lest they lead to places from which there is no return, a whispered plea for redemption in the face of insurmountable darkness. She sought solace in the company of experts in the occult and paranormal, hoping to rid herself of the cursed phone and the horrors it unleashed upon her life, but found herself ensnared in a battle between forces beyond her comprehension, where victory came at a price too steep to bear. Conclusion. In the realm of phone calls, where technology intersects with the supernatural, the line between reality and nightmare blurs with each ring, each whispered word carrying with it the weight of the unknown. These true phone call stories serve as cautionary tales, reminding us that behind every call lies the potential for terror, waiting to ensnare the unwary, waiting to plunge them into a world of darkness and despair. So the next time your phone rings with an unknown number, tread carefully, for you never know what unsettling echoes may linger on the other end of the line, waiting to ensnare you in their embrace. In the end, it's not the call itself that haunts us, but the echoes of what lies beyond, forever reverberating in the depths of our souls, forever reminding us of the fragile thread that binds us to the unknown. In the serene suburb where James resided, life unfolded with a comforting predictability. As a middle-aged man, he had grown accustomed to the quiet solitude of his existence, finding solace in the familiar routines that governed his days. Yet, beneath the tranquil surface of his life, a restlessness simmered, an unspoken yearning for something more, something beyond the confines of his mundane existence. He often found himself gazing out of the window, his eyes tracing the patterns of the passing clouds, wondering what adventures lay beyond the horizon. The monotony of his routine was occasionally broken by the occasional chirping of birds or the gentle rustle of leaves in the wind. These small disruptions, though fleeting, served as reminders of the world beyond his doorstep, a world teeming with possibilities and mysteries waiting to be unraveled. James would often find himself lost in reverie, imagining himself embarking on grand adventures, traversing distant lands and delving into the depths of the unknown. But alas, reality always came crashing back, pulling him back into the comfort of his mundane existence. Then one fateful evening, the shrill ring of his phone shattered the tranquil ambience of his home, jolting him from his reverie. With a sense of trepidation, James reached for the receiver, his pulse quickening with each passing second. What he heard on the other end sent a chill down his spine. A woman's frantic voice, trembling with fear and desperation, pleading for help. Her words struck a chord deep within him, stirring a primal instinct to come to her aid, to offer whatever solace he could in her moment of distress. In that moment, time seemed to stand still as James struggled to comprehend the gravity of the situation. Who was this woman? How had she come to be trapped in such dire circumstances? Despite the waves of confusion crashing over him, James's innate sense of compassion compelled him to act. With a steady voice, he sought to calm the woman, coaxing her to share more details about her predicament. He could feel the urgency in her voice, the desperation that drove her to reach out to a stranger in her darkest hour of need. But as the conversation unfolded, James felt a sinking feeling gnawing at his gut. It became increasingly clear that the woman had dialed the wrong number, her cries for help echoing through the phone line, a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the randomness of fate. Yet, despite the crushing weight of disappointment, James refused to turn a blind eye to her plight. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was meant to be her lifeline, a last hope in a world gone dark. In the wake of the abrupt disconnection, James was left grappling with a myriad of unanswered questions. What had become of the woman on the other end of the line? Was she safe? Or had she fallen victim to some unspeakable tragedy, lost forever in the darkness? The uncertainty gnawed at him like a relentless beast, refusing to release its grip on his consciousness. He found himself plagued by visions of her face, haunted by the spectre of her desperate pleas for salvation. Haunted by uncertainty, James found himself consumed by a relentless need to uncover the truth. With a dogged determination, he scoured the local news for any reports of missing persons, his mind racing with possibilities as he pieced together fragments of information in search of a clue. Every lead seemed to lead to a dead end, every promising tip fizzling out into nothingness. Yet, even as doubt threatened to consume him, James refused to surrender to despair. He clung to the slender thread of hope, refusing to let it slip through his fingers. Days turned into weeks, and still, James's search yielded no answers. The woman remained an enigma, her fate a haunting mystery that seemed destined to remain unsolved. Yet, even in the face of overwhelming odds, James refused to give up. He delved deeper into the labyrinth of clues and red herrings, his determination unyielding in the face of adversity. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was on the verge of a breakthrough, that the answers he sought were tantalizingly close, just beyond his reach. Then, just when he was on the verge of giving up hope, a glimmer of light pierced the darkness. A cryptic message from an unknown sender, a single word that reignited James' determination. Help. It was a beacon of hope in a sea of uncertainty, a lifeline thrown to him in his darkest hour of need. With renewed purpose, James set out to decipher the message, to uncover the truth hidden within its cryptic words. With renewed purpose, James delved deeper into the shadows, following a trail of breadcrumbs that led him down a labyrinth of secrets and lies. Along the way, he encountered a cast of characters, each with their own motives and agendas, all connected by a web of intrigue that stretched far beyond his wildest imagination. He found himself caught in a tangled web of deceit and betrayal, where nothing was as it seemed and trust was a scarce commodity. Yet, amidst the chaos and confusion, he clung to a flicker of hope, a belief that justice would prevail in the end. But as he neared the climax of his journey, James faced a truth more chilling than he could have ever imagined. The woman he had tried to save was not a victim, but a pawn in a game much larger than himself. In a shocking twist of fate, he realized that he had been manipulated from the very beginning, his every move orchestrated by unseen forces with sinister intentions. Betrayed and disillusioned, he stood alone against an enemy he could barely comprehend. Yet, even in the face of overwhelming odds, James refused to surrender to despair. With steely resolve, he fought back with everything he had, drawing upon a wellspring of courage and resilience that he never knew he possessed. He refused to let himself be a mere pawn in someone else's game, a puppet dancing on invisible strings. He was determined to break free from the shackles of manipulation, to reclaim his autonomy and forge his own destiny. In the final showdown, James emerged victorious, vanquishing his adversaries and bringing an end to the nightmare that had consumed his life. But as he stood amidst the wreckage of his shattered illusions, he knew that the scars of his ordeal would never truly heal. He had been forever changed by the crucible of adversity, his innocence lost to the harsh realities of the world. In the aftermath of his harrowing ordeal, James emerged forever changed, his once quiet existence forever altered by the tumultuous events that had unfolded. Yet, amidst the chaos and turmoil, he found a newfound sense of purpose, a beacon of hope shining bright in the darkness. And though the road ahead would be fraught with uncertainty, James faced the future with a newfound sense of determination, ready to confront whatever challenges lay in store with unwavering resolve. For in the crucible of adversity, he had discovered the true measure of his strength, and nothing would ever break his spirit again.